Welcome to Barcelona, practice day for the Spanish Grand Prix, and already today we've seen new cars out on track and we've seen some very, very interesting developments. Now yesterday the man next to me, Giorgio Piola, said he was technically excited about seeing the Red Bull, and indeed that excitement has only grown today when you finally did see the Red Bull with all its new parts on it. So tell us about it.
Yes, it was also very interesting because Red Bull people, they choose to run the two different cars to make a back-to-back comparison between the two drivers. Verstappen has the new solution. It was very interesting. New front wing. The new front wing was on both cars, but completely modified, updated dashboard, more complex with two double horizontal shape of a turning vane on the Verstappen car, while Gasly was running the traditional one. And then very important, finally we saw Red Bull with high downforce wings. Barcelona is a circuit where you require high downforce, not like Monte Carlo, but quite similar. So for the first time we saw Red Bull with a big rear wing, and Verstappen was also using a small monkey seat, nothing new, but completely different from the other track where Red Bull always try to go the lowest downforce possible.
And it does seem, Friday practice doesn't tell us a great deal, but the car, I was watching trackside, it looked very good on track, as it always does, but everything seems to be working. I didn't see any evidence they were struggling, so this is another one of those great Red Bull upgrades. They put it on the car and 99% of the time, things work.
Yeah, the result seems to be very good, and as I said yesterday, we need to have another team fighting for the championship, to be together with the Mercedes and Ferrari, and then with the Verstappen that everybody loves. It took a lot of crowd, so it will be a very good input in Formula One if we have three teams fighting finally.
Well, that's a big question, and Barcelona will be a good test of that because it's a good all-round circuit, isn't it? You need high downforce, as you say, but if Red Bull can be competitive here, that's very, very encouraging for the rest of the season.
Yes, usually I remember for making the comparison with another track that we used to do testing during the winter. Castellet was the opposite. In Castellet, if a car was going well, no relevance because it was not a very proving track. While Barcelona, I remember always we said, if a car goes well in Barcelona, can go well everywhere. So it's a very good point, a very good test track.
And this is the amazing thing about the Red Bull team, isn't it? That they do bring these big updates, and they do seem to work properly. And I think that shows they've got good understanding, as you'd expect from Adrian Newey. It's not hit and hope, it's not we think this works. It's we bolt it on the car, and it performs well. The drivers are normally happy with it.
I have to say also that I saw all the season Adrian Newey very much involved, much more than before, always taking his sketches beside the car, always trying to refine. So I do believe it will be an interesting season for Red Bull.
Well, that's very good news for Red Bull to have an aggressive Adrian Newey really, really going for it, and that's something that should strike fear into the hearts of others. Of course, it also means that the Honda engine, that's a big question. Now, of course, we saw other cars as well, and one of the most interesting cars today was the McLaren. Now, when I was out watching trackside, I saw Flovis paint, the aero paint, on all sorts of different parts of the car, and there was a lot new on the McLaren, wasn't there?
Yes, and I love it because when the team put Vitz fluid on the car, much work has become much easier because, of course, I realized that every sector of the car, especially from the front wing till to the end of the side pods, was completely new. New front wing, and I could see every detail of this front wing is different from the previous one. New dashboard, and of course the Vitz fluid was all around this section of the car. And so it was very interesting to see that they made a big upgrade, and then we have to expect it from the result.
Well, it's very promising for McLaren, isn't it? Because they've had a strong start to the season. They're fourth in the championship. They've had some good results, very tight midfield. But if they can make this upgrade work, and normally an upgrade of this size you would hope gives you not just improved consistency but also improved downforce and therefore grip, you would hope that would actually add up to a genuine performance stat.
Yes, and again, McLaren is one of the most traditional team in Formula One, so it will be very good to see finally back to the front leaders. While in the last season they were really very disappointed. I said while very often I used to make a congratulation with Force India because with a very poor budget they made a car that was reasonably very good. McLaren in the last season was quite a disappointing, so everybody will be happy to see McLaren again competitive, again behind immediately at the top.
Do you get the feeling that McLaren has turned the corner? that they've not necessarily taken a big leap forward, but they've eliminated the problems that were holding them back massively, and now they're kind of at the bottom of the ladder to recovery, rather than struggling and just making parts and putting them on the car as they were last year that just were not improving things.
Yes, it seems so, but again, myself, I like to talk, it's not very a nice answer, but I like always to talk after Saturday evening and Sunday evening. Let's wait to Sunday evening, and then we see if we can congratulate with McLaren, or if there will be still some doubt on McLaren.
That's the thing, isn't it? The lap time never lies. The stopwatch is your ultimate test in Formula One. In terms of the rest of the cars, anything else grab your attention? We talked in yesterday's video about the Mercedes and the Ferrari new parts.
A lot of other new parts, especially, for example, Haas. They made a quite interesting solution in the turning vane under the chassis. As we said yesterday, Spanish Grand Prix can be considered another start of the season, because they had the time to think about from the race outside from Europe. They come back to Europe where they have all the facility to also with the track to put a spare part, and this is the most interesting Grand Prix of the season, to see some team recovering or some other team improving, and so it will be a good again starting point of the season.
And this, of course, is why you're still so technically excited.
Yes, I have to say, thank God I'm quite old. I don't say my age exactly, but I'm still passionate like a young student. Every time I see something, for example, in Baku, when I realized the multi-link front suspension Red Bull, I was really, really very happy, and at the same time disappointed because I found out only at the fourth race.
Well, I won't give away Giorgio's age, but I'll certainly back up the fact that he's got more energy and enthusiasm than just about anyone else in this paddock. So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens. As we say, the lap times never lie, and this could be a really big guide for what's going to happen for the rest of the Formula One season.